Hello, most awesome Sims 2 fans. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Tipsy Mommy Shark. Today, we are building a Christmas village in the park for our Sims to enjoy the holiday season in Sim York. This is inspired by when I lived in my beloved New York City. Stay tuned to the end to learn how you can get this build absolutely free, plus some festive building chaos. So let's get started. To begin with, I plopped our lot down next to the Central Park in our downtown. In my mind, this lot is going to act as the official entrance for both lots. Our Christmas village is going to be tucked inside. This idea is after one of my favorite pop-up villages that I used to visit on the Columbus Circle side of Central Park that you can actually visit in New York City. Even before we began building, I had already decided that I was going to go nuts this year and build 2 Christmas pop-up villages for our Sims. The first build, aka this video, is going to be a community lot with activities for your Sims to enjoy a wintry Christmas day out. My second build is going to be an owned lot, and thanks to Open for Business expansion pack, your Sims can actually shop for Christmas gift and have that whole holiday immersive retail terror experience that we all have when we are out shopping for Christmas gifts. But they can actually buy gifts and give them over the holiday season. The Sims 2 was way ahead of its time. Like I mentioned a little earlier, this is not just the entrance to this park, but supposed to be the main entrance to our entire Central Park. We have one next door, and then we're going to also have one to our left-hand side. Because of that, it needed a real entrance and a real sign. I started playing around with the letters from university because I wanted it to look like it had a hanging sign. Once it was all together, I think it actually started to look like a proper park entrance. Once I put the stone on the front and then a stone fencing all the way around the park, it started to have that old school classic park vibe. I did put openings both to the right and to the left, and this was so that you could enter into the basic downtown Central Park on the right, and then to the left, that is where we will have those owned lots that I told you about eventually, where you will be able to buy Christmas gifts. Because even as I'm building our Christmas kiosks, this is supposed to look like this is open park space, and that is typically where they put these pop-ups in New York. So our Sim York, I wanted it to look just like that. Then from the beginning, you'll notice I had the central tree, and that's my nod to Rockefeller Center. And I had to have an ice skating rink because I wanted a little nod to Bryant Park. All the things that I remember with nostalgia about New York. For those of you new to my channel, this started out as a basic downtown attached to my Pleasant View that I've reworked completely to turn into Sim York. I will put a link in the description down below so you can get caught up on this series. When it came to building our kiosks, I thought I had everything mapped out perfectly. But there became the harsh reality of the size of the general lot that I had chosen. I did not have enough room for what I actually wanted. There was a couple of things I decided I was not giving up on, because what is a Christmas village without food? So for sure, I wanted a wine bar. I'm sorry, it's The Sims. I mean a juice bar for our adults who are going to need something for when family comes to visit. I know I do. We needed a restaurant, a coffee shop, because there is one on every corner in New York. Also wanted to have a hot chocolate maker for the kids in case they needed to warm up. I am keeping that ice skating rink no matter what. And I wanted something special around our main Christmas tree. I wanted things to be fun and festive, multitasking at its finest, and I was standing by that. I also wanted this to be completely custom content free in case people wanted to download it, and we'll see how I did with that. One of the things that I loved when I used to go to the pop-up villages in New York was every year they had a color theme for their kiosk. So if they were supposed to be white and red, they were all white and red, and they would decorate around them a certain way. Or if they were green, they were all green. And then the vendor would go inside and they would decorate whatever they wanted inside. But there was always a theme to the Christmas villages themselves. And I always thought that that was so cool. So that's why my entire village is one color. And if you look, then I just did around the decoration one color, but then in front of the little shops and inside, I did them each different, because that was what I used to see when I would go to the villages in New York. With every build, I'm thinking about gameplay. And with this, especially the family side of this, I wanted it to be more than cute. I wanted it to feel like somewhere my Sims would actually bring the entire family for fun during the holidays, and someplace the kids would genuinely enjoy being. This is something I've always loved about The Sims 2. You can have a bunch of shops and they all actually work, and your Sims can wander off, they can be doing their own thing, then randomly you spot a parent and a kid eating together, or maybe they're playing together, and you didn't have to force it or click on them and tell them to do it. I wanted this to be the family place. I purposely chose to do both a restaurant and the burger stand, because kids and teens can eat at the burger stand when they're hungry without having to be grouped with their parents. Then I decided we needed the hot chocolate maker on the counter in the coffee shop, because if an adult makes the hot chocolate, since of course we do not want our children playing with dangerous appliances, kids can go and grab a cup of hot chocolate and enjoy it, and it actually warms them up on a cold day, which all of this feels so wonderful and holiday-esque. I think the type of lots that you like to use in your game comes down to, how do you like to play with your Sims? I play mostly rotationally. All of my families end up in the same season at the same time, but I do use a lot of mods when playing my game. I've mentioned this before. I use the bigger builds mod, and I think my builds are at 1500%. I was just thinking about downing that a little tiny bit. I also, for all my careers, all of the amounts are halved. When somebody owns a home in my town, it is really a grind for them to be able to pay their bills. So rarely do they really get time off or get time off of their home lot. So I have to make things meaningful or special. I also have a mod that's called Let Kids Be Kids. They get the summer off, which can be tough on parents who work if you don't have a teenager in the house. And of course, then you have to pay for a babysitter. But then too, they get a day off for Christmas. I really love all of these mods. They add to my gameplay. But for me, then I make specialty lots for certain seasons or special occasions. I haven't done very many of them since I started building on YouTube, but I have places for fall festivals, or like this, that I want Christmas villages in my Sim York. I have wedding lots because it gives the neighborhood a rhythm and makes moments feel more special. One of the things I realized about how I play The Sims 2 is that I love having these because they have certain moments and certain special seasons. Just like, when you have birthday parties, they're special moments. Not every lot needs to be for every day. Some of them are just for holidays, or maybe they're special traditions in certain families, but they make memories for my Sims and for me, of course, and this build is going to be one of them. This build was not a build like my last build where I was trying to do a basement and it was terrifying. It went along pretty seamlessly, but I did stop building a couple of times and slept on the idea. And then I got to the point not long after where you see now, where it was kind of done and I put the trees and I decided, well, I need to sleep on it. And I thought the front was kind of boring. And that's where the trouble began for me, because after I got the idea that I wanted a train to run around the tree and it needed to be bigger and it needed to be more grand. I came back into the build with I need to build out the restaurant because in New York, they would have encased the restaurant in plastic so it wouldn't be so cold. And my ice skating rink should have a pavilion around it so that I can put lights and it sparkle in the snow and it should be surrounded by trees. And literally, I lay in bed at night dreaming these things up, and then I have to put it into practice because in my head, it was going to be more beautiful and more interesting. And that is kind of where things became more difficult, but I did it to myself. The moment I started working on the restaurant, I really knew I was on the right track, even though the space is completely cramped, so very New York of it. I imagined this little spot with the fireplace was warm and cozy, the kind of place couples escape the cold, or maybe the parents could sneak away for a quick holiday date while the kids enjoy the village outside. I remember walking around the city and oh my gosh, feeling frozen. I don't even think I could feel my toes and spotting the warm glow from our little restaurant window. It just draws you in, and that's exactly the feeling I was hoping to get here. Something inviting and full of warmth. I used Marcy Christie to playtest this lot a lot of times. You might remember her from my last video. She is living in the basement apartment of our brownstone. She has survived the terror of Camp Three Lakes as a teen. That was a video I did over Halloween, but now I forced her to grow up and she is navigating the city full of dreams and, well, let's be honest, trauma. I'll put a link in the description down below in case you need a refresher of who she is in Sim York. Anyway, I am glad that I made her do this because I realized I had accidentally created the ice skating rink of doom. Honestly, Marcy is perfect for finding this out for us because what's a little more trauma after surviving a teen horror camp? The Sims could get onto the rink just fine, but they couldn't get off. It turns out that the exits need extra space on either side for the Sims routing to get off of it properly, which of course is good information to learn after everybody is already trapped. I loved how my pavilion looked around the ice skating rink, so I was not going to give it up, but I did go back and fix it. So now the Sims can skate, escape, and live to see another winter. Honestly, if anybody could survive a frozen death trap, it's got to be Marcy. Luckily, it did not take very long to sort out my frozen adventure, and I think it's going to be ready for holiday fun. I'm honestly happy with how it turned out. I really loved how the restaurant turned out, and the pavilion around the rink is fantastic. It had the right festive touches, and I think it's a place not only that my Sims are going to want to come to. I'm not really a cold outdoorsy person, and I want to go there. If you would like to get this build for your game, you can download it for free on my Patreon page. Just check the link in the description down below. You also do not have to be a member to get any of my downloads. If you've enjoyed hanging out and watching this build come to life, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your Sims going to be up to this holiday season? Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Happy simming and bye-bye.